Hello guys and welcome to Python programming tutorials by Amul's Academy. Today in this tutorial we are discussing about how to print stars in alphabetical R shape. And this program is also similar to the previous pattern programs. So let's begin with the code. Here is our output and we can see stars in different row and column. To print star in different row and column, we are using two for loops. One is to print stars in the row and another one is to print star in the column. So at the beginning of the code, we can see the for loop. This for loop is to print stars in row and row is the variable name. We are using range function. And in the output, we can see 7 rows. That's why I'll mention 7 here. So it will give output as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And inside that for loop body we are using another for loop and it is to print stars in the column. And here call is the variable name and we are using range function here. And in the output there are 5 columns are there. So I'll mention range as 5. That is 0 to 5. And inside that for loop body we are using if else conditional statement. That is, we want to print stars in some particular pattern. Here we want to print star in alphabetical R shape. So we need a condition. For that we are using if else conditional statement. And here after if keyword we need to mention the condition, that is in which row and column you want to print star. For that we need to see the output. And first we'll start with the column. So here in the column 0 we can see stars in each row, right? So my first condition will be I'll check whether column is equal to 0. Next I'll mention logical OR operator, and in the logical OR if any one of the input is true then it will give output as true. Here if any one of the condition is true then it will print star. That's why I'm using logical OR here. So we are done with the column 0. Now we'll go to the column 4. We can see stars in column 4 also. But at that time row should not be 0. Row should not be equal to 3. So here we can see that is in the row 0 column 4 there is no star. In the row 3 column 4 there is no star. So my condition will be like this. I'll check whether column is equal to 4. If it is true, and that time row should not be equal to 0 and row should not be equal to 3. Okay, this is my another condition where we are checking this column 4. So we'll check whether column is equal to 4. If it is true then at that time row should not be equal to 0 and row should not be equal to 3. Now we are done with the columns. So now we'll concentrate on the rows. Here we can see at the row 0 we want to print star and row 3 we want to print star. That is we need these 3 star and these 3 star. So I need to check whether row is equal to 0 or 3. If it is true then column should be greater than 0 and less than 4. Right? So my next condition will be I'll check whether row is equal to 0 or row is equal to 3. If it is true then column should be greater than 0 and column should be less than 4. And we need to group them together. Okay, here this is our next condition where we are checking whether row is equal to 0 or 3. If it is true then column should be greater than 0 and less than 4. And here I use logical and in the case of logical and if both the inputs are true then only output is true. That is to print star both this condition need to be true. Okay, that's why I mentioned logical and here. Okay, now here we can see first we checked whether column is equal to 0. If it is true we want to print star in each row. Okay, this is our first condition. Next we'll check whether column is equal to 4. If it is true then row should not be 0 and 3. And next we'll check for the row equal to 0 or row equal to 3. If it is true, then that time column should be greater than 0 and less than 4. Okay, these are my condition. Next colon. And now we'll move into the if body, and we are printing star here. And in the print we can see end is equal to empty string. By default end value will be /n, but in our output we don't want any space or new line between the stars in one row, so here we mentioned empty string. Next, if this condition becomes false, then control goes to the else part and it will print space. Here we can see the space, right? This is because of the else statement execution. Next, inside the first for loop, here this for loop we are writing print. That is because after printing star in one row, we want to go to the next line to print remaining stars. So we want new line after every row. For that we are using this print. Now we are done with our code, so we need to save this and run this. And here we can see stars in R shape. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe my channel. I'll meet you in next class. Till then, take care.